Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit the ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video.
Greetings everybody guys, let's take a look again on the euro currency. First, in the beginning of the video I just will say a couple of words on the Great British Pound. So today is the vital day for Great British Pound because of the voting results. So as you know, last time the situation was really nervous when polls suggest that the gap between the Conservative and Labour Party has narrowed, and it was a lot of talkings about the situation in the news, especially those of you who are keeping an eye on the volatility on the option market, on the forex market, on the currencies, on options on the currencies. You could see that the Great British Pound options shows just outstanding increase in the volatility, implying the volatility. So usually that happens when the investors are a bit nervous and are not sure in the results of the election. So one of the possible results, as you know, could be again the Hang government. So the one story is YouGov polls, but absolutely different story is reality. And investors really have some doubts that polls could be a bit not quite correct, and the situation could change. Could stand in fact a bit different compared to what polls suggest, and that creates a significant increase in the volatility. So if you'd like to read about it, you just keep an eye on our weekly report on the gold market, because there I have mentioned some moments that have relation to the gold market as well, and one of them is the situation on the currencies options. So speaking on technical side, you could see that our journey to the upside is done. So our XOP target has been hit accurately yesterday with this our hand and shoulders patterns that we were trading, and most of all, as you can see on the daily chart, mostly this cluster target also has been hit. Yes, market hasn't quite reached the 132 area. It's just some minor spike, but I think that it could happen when the results will be announced, and it's here. It's probably definitely this target will be hit by some volatility on the market. But in general, and you can see the butterfly is completed, the intraday XOP target is completed. So short-term setup is done. But in general, as you can see, this overall price action stands really strong. Chances on the upward continuation looks good, and especially if indeed Boris Johnson will be able to create the majority in the parliament, that could push the Great British Pound right to the 140 area. I will not be surprised if we'll see it there, because all problems in the economy right now takes the back seat compared to the political news. So that's about the Great British Pound. Now let's back to the euro. On the euro currency, we talked about this recent sell-off that was triggered by the non-farm payroll release, and currently it represents some riddle that what this actually drop is, whether this is a continuation of this downward direction, whether this is just positive splash in a growing concern on the economy, on the United States economy, and the deteriorating situation. That's just a episode flash here in a worsening situation. Because when the situation starts to change, it changed not directly and straightforward, but it changed with the periodical fragments of the positive news, positive statistics. But in general, trend starts to change, and negative news overcome the positive. And from that standpoint, it's interesting. What is it? Is it whether it's just some fragment, or just the rest of the previous positive data, or this is really or this is changing of the situation, because as you know, the Fed were acting in advance of this deteriorating of the situation, and maybe this is a result of this action. We do not know. And from the technical point of view, we need to consider the market response on the major support, as we said, because it will clarify what to expect next, whether we will get right back up to the previous top. This will be first target around 111.70, or if no response here will happen and the situation again indeed becomes better, in the economy. In this case, we should get dropped right back down to the 109 area. But in this case, guys, market will return right back down. We should be ready for a deeper downward action. So market will not stop right here. That's just how technical picture looks like. And our first stage in our plan is to see and watch how market will respond to major support. So recall what we talked about in our weekly report. We said market stands for the great downside potential, downside momentum. And on the daily chart, we even have got the reversal session, downside reversal. So that's the support of the double pivot. So monthly weekly pivot point stands in the same area this week. Here is market showing some pullback. Market already has passed through the OP target, and this breakout of the OP was significant. That was the retracement yesterday, first response after the drop. But XOP has not been reached. This 110.30 area that we will be keep an eye on. And indeed, take a look here as we have the XOP major support area 1032. And take a look. If you will measure this extension, you'll see that 127 extensions then 1029. So it accompanied to this level. So if you would like to take the long position, don't be hasty and wait for good support area and 1030 in particular, because if even market will break it later, at the first touch of this level, we probably should get some pullback. Maybe some harmonic retracement of the same length could happen right from here. That will let you to protect your position, to minimize your risk. So it's better to wait for a good support area to take the long position. If you like to take the short, that depends on your time frame. So if you're a scalp trader, you could consider the possible taking position somewhere by this maybe this pattern and take the bet on the butterfly with downward drop to the 1030 area. Theoretically, guys, we can't exclude also this pattern. So market could form a kind of the godless triple to sell. But based on the market mechanics, this pattern is less probable. Why? Because here, market not at the major support, the kind of the godless triple to sell already has been formed. So take a look, already we have some kind of the ABCD pattern. We are not at major target, we are not at major support. And in such circumstances, two-leg retracement here, it will be too much. If you will see that market starts to form the two-leg retracement coming back to this top, it will mean that this is not a retracement, but this is upward continuation. In the current conditions, I would suggest that this scenario is less probable. So, but as you know, nothing impossible exists in the market. We're just trying to take a look at the markets from the odds point of view, from the probability point of view. And probability suggests the downward action in the current situation is more probable. But I will just warn you about the possible risks and about the shape. There's some patterns that should worry you if you're intend to trade market on the short side. So if you suggest taking the short position based on the butterfly, market starts climbing above this top, it will erase the butterfly first. And second, deeper retracement here could suggest that this is not just a retracement, but it could be upward continuation. So that's two moments to watch for. But as I said, currently it seems that downside continuation to the 1030 looks more probable. Also keep an eye, guys, here it could be a grabber. So if market will form here the bull bearish grabber within a few hours, well, that will be much better because it will suggest the drop below this lows, and it will be additional advantage in favor of the bears. So that's what we will keep an eye on the euro currency today and see what will happen. Major our major moment will come when market will reach this area. Here's response, the way how market responds on this support, what will happen around it. It will be decisive moment for the short-term situation in euro currency.